Coach's CatChat. Joe Stuart here with head Linfield football coach Joseph Smith. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing great, thanks.
And we're getting ready for hosting the George Fox Bruins this weekend, as it'll be homecoming as well as streak week. So a lot going on this week. But you guys just came off the big 57-15 win up at Lewis and Clark, and through the first two games of conference play, the offense has looked pretty unstoppable. Obviously, you played some pretty tough defenses in non-conference play to get the season going. Was it just good to see out there just rolling up big numbers, getting a lot of guys into the game the last couple weeks?
Oh, it really has been. And I think you're right. The first couple games, I was very impressed with Denison's defense, and I thought Redlands does. Just looking at their scores, they do have a very good defense as well. So they were able to keep the score down, and we probably had a fairly conservative approach, the first couple games in terms of just ball control and running the football and kind of winning on defense and field position. And I think as our offense is gelling together, we're starting to see some much more explosiveness in it. But some of that's also who you're playing. So, I'm pleased with where we are, and I think guys are coming around.
And a whole lot of different guys were able to get involved these last couple of weeks, running the football, catching the football. Obviously worked in a couple different quarterbacks too, but particularly as you look at those skill position guys, obviously had a lot of talent the last couple of years, especially with that extra year of COVID eligibilities. A lot of those guys have started to move on. You do have obviously fifth years in there now, but just how would you evaluate kind of the depth offensively for this team right now?
Well, I think we have good depth, if that's what you're getting at, and I think we have elite players on the outside and elite tailbacks and very very elite tight ends, and that's a good thing to have. And I think our next group of guys that are right behind those guys are very good and just need a chance to play, and they're getting a chance more and more. So I'm very pleased with the depth that we have really at the skill positions on both sides of the football. I think that was a real concerted effort to bring in some young talent in those spots to one day fill the void when we graduate a bunch of guys, which will happen soon.
You mentioned the tight ends, and we talked about them a little bit a couple weeks ago, but obviously Isaac Hoytel had one of not just his best games of his career, but one of the best pass-catching days for a tight end I can remember in the last few years for a Linfield tight end. Obviously, Franco Keplinger has been a big part of the scheme for a few years running now, but just what have those guys been able to do to just help elevate where this offense is, especially younger offensive line, and being able to mix in as pass catchers as well?
Absolutely. Well, a few years ago we had so much talent, in the receiving corps that we needed to get those guys on the field a little bit, and so moving Isaac to tight end I think he's a great receiving tight end because he's a really good receiver.
Right.
And he's learning how to block and learning how to be a very physical tight end, which has really helped our running game go. And those two together are quite formidable. And I'm really pleased with how they've been playing. It's fun to see. So yes, those two are a good weapon. And Will French also is a young man that would have been in the mix but had some injuries at tight end too. So that position's been a real blessing.
Defensively, it was kind of an interesting flow to the game, of course, as you had them at 3 3-and-outs against Lewis and Clark. They really could not get literally anything going in the first quarter. Then their first drive of the second quarter, they come down, march down the field, score a touchdown. Their second drive, they end up stalling out on their own 11. But then in the second half, looked like Jackson Vaughn and the Linfield defense just had it completely figured out. How would you kind of break down the flow defensively and what you and the coaching staff we're kind of seeing throughout the course of the game, particularly that first half going into the second?
Well, we started off the game, not great, and that was ultimately a good thing, for us. First time we'd been trailing, I think, all season. So, good spot to be in terms of, well, if you come out with a win, it's a good spot to be in. But I thought that was good for us, and I was really pleased with how our offense responded right away. We got that back, and then went down and got a 3-and-out and got the lead, and really were in control the rest of the game. As far as the defense goes, I felt like they played really well. That Lewis and Clark got a little rhythm for a series or two, and in terms of just finding a few things that were working. And then once our defensive staff was able to lock in on that and make a few changes, we were able to take that away and not really give them much after that. But I thought that was a vastly improved Lewis and Clark team. We were very pleased to see that, and they played physical. Coach Bushman's a good coach, and I thought their offensive line was physical, running the football, and that's good to see for our conference.
And then on special teams, obviously, you mentioned going down early as they had the kickoff touchdown, and then they had 2 more points, 9 of their 15 points coming on special teams, but
Right.
2 more points coming on the blocked PAT. Obviously, there were plenty of good moments for the special teams as well, but last year it seemed like just such a strength for the program, being able to flip the field, establish great field position. Where are you kind of on with your thoughts on where the special team units are right now?
Well, other than that kickoff return, the kickoff team's been quite good. The statistics are pretty good that way. They're not maybe as dramatic as last year. We had so much dramatic plays, and so I think it's been pretty steady. Yes, we've had some hiccups here with a few snaps and holds, on the PAT, and then obviously the breakdown and protection, but. I was pleased with how the guys responded in terms of changing a few nuances to maybe take their advantage away that they obviously had on the PAT block. So I think guys adjusted to that well, and but we can't have those letdowns. I mean, in a big game, one letdown like that, you lose, and we had 2. So that was very disappointing to see, quite frankly. But I think as the season goes on, our kickoff return and our punt return will continue to get better, and just as guys get healthy. We've been a little banged up there, and that's maybe kept some of the big plays out. But when you step back and look at the net punting and the net, the net opponent's net punt, it's quite substantial. It's just not as dramatic as last year with all the touchdowns that we were getting. But the guys are doing a good job. We're winning, 5 to 10 points every time, yards every time a team punts. So that's good.
Looking ahead to this week, obviously playing a George Fox team that has obviously been a rivalry built up since they've brought the program back since 2014. A one-sided rivalry in terms of the wins and losses, but that's a proud program that over the last few years had really risen into the top, echelon of the conference. They're struggling this year. They've lost their last 3 games, and all 3 of them on the last possession of the year. I'm sure this is a team that's going to be coming in desperate and looking to bring their best shot, as most teams do against Linfield. How do you make sure that your side is maintaining the same level of intensity that the Bruins are likely going to bring into Saturday?
Well, that's a good question. The George Fox program is a good program, and Coach Casey does just a fantastic job with it. Obviously, he was a coach when I was playing here, and then I got to coach under him, and he kind of took me under his wing, when I was coaching defense, and I got a lot of respect for him, and he'll have their guys ready to go. They've been typically a team that doesn't make mistakes and plays hard, and it's strange to see them struggling a little bit, and I think as their offense gels, I think they'll get better. They're just down a little bit right now in terms of the playmaking, I guess. But I haven't really looked at it that closely. But I know they'll play hard. I know they're very physical and proud, and we need to match that, as you're saying, because I know how much they would like to beat us, to put that mildly.
Once again, the Wildcats hosting George Fox this weekend. 12:30 kickoff, a little bit earlier. That game will not just be on the Linfield Sports Network, but also KRCW. And of course, it's homecoming, so we hope you come out and support the Wildcats and see them clinch, hopefully, the 67th consecutive winning season in program history with a win over the Bruins this Saturday. Coach, thanks and good luck.
Thank you.